Let's move on. Let's now take a closer look at a developing story coming from Taiwan. A Chinese balloon has been spotted in the skies. But this isn't just a story about a random floating object. It's a story with multiple layers that touch on international politics, espionage, and regional stability. Talk about déjà vu. Let's unpack this.
Earlier today at approximately 9:09 a.m. local time, Taiwan's Ministry of National Defense reported a balloon crossing the median line. Located 124 kilometers northwest of Keelung, it marks the third such sighting this month, a pattern that's raising eyebrows and fears alike. Primarily due to the potential for surveillance and intelligence gathering. Earlier this year, the United States' F-22 fighter jet shot down what it later identified as a Chinese high-altitude surveillance balloon. This event off the South Carolina coast sparked a global debate over surveillance and airspace violations. In the context of Taiwan, these balloon sightings come against the crucial backdrop of upcoming presidential elections. What do they indicate? Chinese surveillance or something more dangerous? Currently, there are no answers.
A couple of hours ago, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke with his Israeli counterpart, Benjamin Netanyahu. Prime Minister Modi highlighted India's stand on the ongoing Gaza war. India is in favor of early restoration of peace. The conversation between the two leaders comes less than a week after India at the United Nations voted in favor of an immediate ceasefire. The Israeli Prime Minister thanked Prime Minister Modi for India's support in Israel's just war to destroy Hamas. I'm quoting. Now remember, the Israeli campaign against Hamas in the Gaza Strip has killed more than 19,000 Palestinians. Thousands of them are children. What's more, the 50,000 plus Gazans who have been injured in Israeli strikes are struggling to get even the basic medication for treatment. The health system in this tiny Palestinian enclave has totally collapsed, and this has renewed calls for a ceasefire in Gaza. As death and devastation grip Gaza, the most immediate ripple effect of this war is showing 1,000 miles away in the Red Sea. Here, global supply chains are once again under threat. You see, in recent weeks, Houthis have stepped up their attacks on ships passing through the Red Sea. They say this is in response to Israel's ongoing bombardment of Gaza. At first, they were targeting Israel-linked ships only, but of late, it seems all tankers, all cargo ships have come under attack. Houthis have launched drones as well as missile attacks from Yemen, and although the damage caused so far has been minimal, the threat alone has left the crucial trade route through the Red Sea at a near standstill. This reportedly featured in the conversation between Prime Minister Modi and Benjamin Netanyahu. According to the Times of Israel, the two leaders spoke about safeguarding free shipping. They acknowledged the threat posed by Houthis and the global interests in preventing harm to international trade, including the economies of Israel and India. The statement reportedly quotes Prime Minister Modi highlighting the need to protect the freedom of shipping. The conversation between Prime Minister Modi and Netanyahu comes on the day that the US announced a 10-nation force to protect the Red Sea. Let me explain. In response to the Houthi threat, a Red Sea patrol force has now been formed. It includes Bahrain, Canada, France, Italy, the Netherlands, Norway, Seychelles, Spain, the United Kingdom and the United States. Announcing the decision, U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said that this multinational security initiative seeks to uphold the foundational principle of freedom of navigation. The U.S. Defense Secretary said that the aim is to tackle the challenge posed by non-state actors. The Iran-aligned Houthis have ramped up their attacks in the strategic choke point called the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. It is part of the most densely packed shipping channel in the world. All ships that pass through the Suez Canal pass through this very strait in the southern entrance of the Red Sea. It accounts for about 12% of global trade. On Monday, the Houthis attacked a Norwegian-owned Swan Atlantic and the MSC Clara. They used naval drones for the attack. The first vessel had no link to Israel. It is reportedly managed by a Singaporean firm. So securing this particular strategic choke point has taken on a new sense of urgency. Everything, from the cost of petrol to the availability of the latest electronic device, it all depends heavily on the security of the Red Sea. Billions of dollars of trade goods pass through these waters. Any delay here, any disruption means disruptions around the world. According to reports, more countries could be included in the patrol force. Egypt and Jordan could join the security initiative. There's also the possibility of Saudi Arabia joining this coalition. In the meanwhile, at least 12 shipping companies have suspended transit through the Red Sea for obvious reasons. Today, UK oil giant BP became the latest firm to announce that it will avoid the waters altogether. Therefore, Houthi attacks have effectively rerouted a significant portion of global trade. Freight companies are now taking a longer route. They are sailing around the African continent just to avoid any possible Houthi attacks. What does this mean? Higher costs and longer delays. Food, energy, as well as consumer goods are going to be affected as a result. And amid the fog of war, here's another mystery that needs to be solved. Where is Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny? A week ago, he went missing from prison. Now the United Nations is demanding answers. A UN rights expert has raised her concerns with the Russian authorities. Navalny's whereabouts have been unknown for over a week now. He also missed his scheduled court hearing last Friday. His lawyers were reportedly told by the court that their client is no longer held in the Vladimir region. Navalny's family and lawyers have sent multiple letters to all penal colonies. They have been trying to find him. What have they got in return? Some half-baked information. They were initially told that Navalny might be at the Omsk penal colony, but it was later rejected. You see, after being sentenced to an additional 19 years on extremism charges, Navalny was set to be transferred to a harsher regime penal colony. And reports say that detainees are most vulnerable during such a transportation. They are mistreated and are at grave risk of human rights violations. So is that what happened to Navalny? After all, he was Russian President Putin's main political opponent and his most vocal critic. We will continue to ask, where is Alexei Navalny?